and above in Ghana is at risk of prostate cancer. And it is increasing so much. Now, if you're 65 years and above, then you're even more likely to catch it. But what exactly is prostate cancer, and what can men do to protect themselves, to prevent themselves from getting the cancer, if any, and to get themselves treated in case they are diagnosed of it? We have a special guest joining us this morning. Dr. Bortey is here, and it's been a while.
Yes.
Since we saw you. Where have you been?
I've been around.
You've been around,
yeah.
Good to have you join us this
Watching
morning.
things from the touchline.
I can see that. I can see that. But when we say prostate cancer, what is it exactly?
Thank you, and a very good morning to viewers all across the globe. So prostate cancer is, when we talk of cancer, it's actually a matter of the cells in any part of your body now beginning to grow abnormally. And the abnormal cells that grow in different parts of the body. So you can have any part of your body, including your skin, your eye, your liver. The cells that are normal, they can just all of a sudden change their trajectory, and the kind of cells that will be produced are all abnormal cells. And these abnormal cells actually are deleterious to your health, and they can actually kill you. So that is basically cancer. And usually there's a strong genetic influence when it comes to things that result in a person getting cancer. So family history is something that we should all look at. Apart from that, there are other environmental stuff or chemicals that can contribute to. But strongest of all is genes that give information for your cells to grow. They just go berserk, and then the resultant is that your cells become tumorous or abnormal or malignant cells. And these can travel to other parts of your body. Cancer cells can start in your prostate and end up in your brain. Cancer cells can start in your prostate and end up in your backbone or your pelvis. And like we know, breast cancer can start in your breast and then end up in your lungs. Any part of the body, they can travel. And that is what can cause death. So when it comes to prostate cancer, it's actually these abnormal changes in the cells of the prostate. And then it leads to the cancer.
How are you able to diagnose this? What are the signs?
Well, like you said in the statistics, about averagely 66 years is the average age at which most people are diagnosed. So it's not like something that is in the 80s. So it's very nearer to us than we think. And globally, 1 out of every 8 men is likely to come down with prostate cancer. In terms of breast cancer, the statistics says that 1 out of 12. So it means that when it comes to prostate, it's even scarier, where you have 1 out of 8 men likely to come down with prostate cancer. If a man is therefore waiting to see signs before they take action, you might be deceived, because cancer cells or cancer changes can be taking place in a subtle manner throughout, probably after 40 years, and you wouldn't notice it. So if you're waiting till this time you see changes like, you go to pass urine and then you feel some difficulty in passing urine, or you see blood in your urine, or sometimes you pass stools, you are seeing blood in your stools. That at that point, it basically would mean that the prostate cancer has eaten in the prostate and is even eating into other nearby organs that you have. Because if the cancer changes that take place in the prostate organ itself become that aggressive, then it will eat into nearby, which is the bladder, eat behind you into your rectum, and therefore, basically, your urine can become blood stain or hematuria, as we call it. So waiting for these would have been too late. So our main aim in this month of awareness is for people to be proactive in looking for the cancer before it starts showing signs, because by the time it starts showing signs, probably you are in stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4 already. And
that could be, like you said, deleterious to your health. And it could get to a point where it cannot be treated at all. Now, if it's spotted early, what can be done about it?
Well, when cancer is spotted, especially if it's in stage 1 or stage 2, there are medications that are good enough to be able to treat the cancer. Sometimes other modes of treatment may include surgery, having to go in and remove the prostate itself, because that is the locus where it started. And even if the cancer has traveled out of the prostate elsewhere, it would still be important to deal with the starting point, whilst we also deal with the those that have exited camp. In that case, you talk of chemotherapy for them, or radiotherapy, depending on the stage in which the person has reached.
When you say remove the prostate, are we talking about the whole ball?
Yes. So
you have to take that out completely.
So we have prostatectomy. We call it removal of the prostate gland itself. And
if both are removed, you cannot have kids.
So the prostate is just one gland.
Yeah, but there are two balls in it, no?
Okay, so
I'm just trying to break it down for anybody who's also watching.
All right, so let me go to the prostate.
Okay.
So you have your bladder. All right. So just at the bottom of at the neck of the bladder, there's a walnut-shaped organ, solid around the urethra. So the bladder would exit itself through the prostate.
Yeah.
And then through that you can pass your urine. Okay. So when you have bladder enlarged,
like what is on the screen right now?
Right there.
So the purple one is what we're talking about.
Right. If you see, so the prostate actually encircles the urethra. Urethra is where your urine passes through. So it's just one single organ.
It's the brown one we're talking about.
So what you are seeing is just because of the section that you are seeing. It looks like there's one in front, one at the back, but it's a whole round thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's a spherical organ. So the urethra just courses through it. It's just like having an orange and you have a pen. You put a pen through the orange, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how it is. So the cancer would originate within the cells of the prostate and start spreading. So here you can see that the cancer can spread, this is within the prostate. It can spread in front to the pubic bone. It can spread behind into the rectum, where you pass feces. It can spread upwards into the bladder, which is just up there, and therefore you see blood in your urine.
Yeah.
And sometimes with this kind of spread, you might even have what we call hemospermia. When you ejaculate, you see blood in your ejaculate. And these are signs and symptoms that something could possibly be happening around the prostate or in the bladder.
So if we could just go back to that image again, if you need to take it out, we're talking about this encircled parts, the brown part. So if you have to do prostatectomy, that's what it's called, that's what you take out.
Yes.
Does that affect the sexual activity of a man?
Yeah, definitely would. To some extent, it will.
Okay.
The prostate gland actually is the main organ that produces the majority of the biggest bulk of fluid when it comes to sexual ejaculate.
Okay.
So your happy fluid, or the happiness fluid people get during the sexual intercourse, it's usually from the prostate. Other glands come in to help. The Carpus gland and seminal vesicle, they all join, but majority is from the prostate. So it is one that produces fluid for your sperms to swim through. Yeah. So it will definitely affect the...
Okay. Now, I know that usually we say that with cancer, we can't necessarily tell how it starts or what causes it.
Yeah.
But in this case where we're saying that sometimes your genetic, background could also affect you, family lines, etc. What are some lifestyle habits that we could develop in order to, first of all, prevent it, and that could lead to cancer as well? Yeah,
so when it comes to this, we have things that we may need to do, or I call the do's and then the don'ts.
Okay.
So you may have the family history, you may have the genetic history, but you can also do things to either prevent it from happening, or at least not that early. So some of the risk factors that have been noted to contribute to you getting it much faster would include smoking. So smoking itself has tobacco has a lot of carcinogens in it. Yeah. So if you should add that to your problem, it's just like we are saying, you're adding insult to what? Injury. And so the faster you are likely to, and then lack of exercise, also it's known to generally build up your system well enough to fight cancer cells.
Okay.
Dieting is also very important. Instead of eating red meat, eat red vegetables. That's what I say. That's how you eat. Going for red meat, go for red vegetables. Especially tomatoes, for example, is known to have something in it called lycopenes. And not just tomato, but red pepper also has that. I mean, I keep saying that if there's good thing a woman can do for her husband or the man, let him eat one raw tomato every day. I mean, it goes a long way to help. So these kind of dieting in terms of natural vegetables, fruits as well, are very helpful. And not just for the prostate, but generally they are helpful in fighting off cancer cells, or at least prevent it from coming that early. So you are boosting your system in order that your system will be able to fight off cancer. So exercise is important, dieting is important.
Alcohol?
Alcohol, yes. Alcohol, you either stop or come down the use of alcohol.
Okay.
These are culprits in almost all kinds of conditions you can think about. Obesity is also a factor. As for the age is nothing. You can't do much about age. Exactly. So we call it a non-modifiable factor. The genetic history, you call it, is also a non-modifiable. You can't change it. Interestingly, a couple of guys I've seen recently who are battling with prostate cancer will tell you that my father had it,
yeah,
or an uncle had it. And I keep saying that the mere fact that you can look like somebody in your family also means that you also possibly would have inherited other things you don't see with your eyes.
Yeah.
When we inherit the nice shapes and things, we are happy. But also know that you would have inherited other things we don't see with our eyes. And it's only a matter of time that these begin to show up. And one is prostate cancer. So our lifestyle matters a lot. Some people talk about green tea. Yes, green tea is also very good in terms of helping the system fight off cancer cells. So these are some of the lifestyle things we can look at. And after talking about these lifestyle things, it's also important for a person to look at getting checked. Okay, so as I said, the symptoms of prostate cancer, you are waiting to see yourself losing weight, you are getting anemic. This morning, I know somebody who is on blood, being transfused blood because of prostate cancer. Ooh. If you are waiting for this time, you may not...
might be too late.
Might be too late. So we are saying that if you look at the statistics, it's not common in men under 40. The commonest is around 65 onwards. But again, it didn't start at 65. Probably starts from 40. So rather than wait to see symptoms, why not start checking? So that
would be what, 25 years of living with.
Exactly. So by the time you see your urine is you're having difficulty urinating or having blood in your streaks of blood in your urine, having blood in your stools or weight loss, it might be stage 2, stage 3, which is more difficult. So when it's seen in stage 1, then you know that your prostate, you can be preserved, your life can be preserved because it's seen early enough. Okay. And then, of course, you would also need to make sure that you take time off to see your urologist once or twice once in 2 years. Is not bad. At least apart from doing the PSA, this test we call PSA, prostate specific antigen. It gives it's a guide.
Okay.
It's a guide to say that, okay, let's read eyebrows. Let's do it again and check if, because though the prostate specific antigen is something we recommend, it is not the dolly, as somebody will say. Other tests would have to be done to see about that.
So this PSA, how is it done?
So it's just a simple blood test. They will just take a portion of your blood and check the what we call the prostate-specific antigen. Okay. The levels in it. Usually it has a range of 0 to 4. However, if your figures are staggering up, it raises eyebrows. Do we have to check for something else? Because the PSA could just mean that it's up because we have just an inflammation of the prostate as well, prostatitis. Okay. Or maybe the person went to do the prostate test, maybe had sexual intercourse just 24 hours prior to doing the test. So that will not be too good a time. At least you should make sure that you've probably starved yourself of sexual activity 3 days or so before taking the
Are there any other
test.
physical ways by which you can test or check to see if someone has either an enlarged prostate or is developing the cancer?
Very well. So the other physical tests, there's something we call the DRE, or direct rectal examination, where the doctor would examine your prostate physically with his fingers to go and...
How do you reach the prostate? Where is that physically? Now I'm wondering. How do you get to the prostate?
So as I said, it's digital. It's a digit of the finger into the rectum. So digital rectal examination.
So you have to bend down for the doctor to...
Yeah, lie down.
That'll be uncomfortable.
Lie down. It's not that uncomfortable.
How long does it take?
Oh, just a few, less than a minute.
Okay.
You have a feel of the surface of the prostate. From the pictures, you can see that it's close to the rectum.
Yeah.
That's why things can easily be transmitted there. So the doctor goes in there, and there's a way he feels and looks at the consistency, the surface, how rough it is, how smooth it is. All these things give him information. And from then on, he may ask for further tests. Maybe a prostate scan has to be done, or other advanced tests can be done to ascertain the state of the prostate at the time.
If you have an enlarged prostate, does it mean that you have cancer, or that's totally different?
Thank you for this question. So, an enlarged prostate is not prostate cancer. So the two things are totally different. So we call it benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH. So somebody's prostate can enlarge, and therefore the person would get to the point where he's unable to pass urine because the prostate has enlarged, and therefore, because, like I said earlier, you have the pen through the orange. Yeah. So now it ends up constricting the passageway for the urine. So this person may have just enlarged prostate, giving difficulty in urination, or sometimes giving the person frequency of urination, or something we call it strain. It gets to the point of passage and he has to strain, or after urinating, there's dribbling of fluid around him. That may be the benign enlargement. However, there is no statistics to say that once you have an enlargement of the prostate, it translates directly into cancer. Cancer is totally different from, the two can also coexist. So you can have your prostate enlarged and cancer can again develop in the prostate. But the two can also exist differently. So the fact that somebody has prostate cancer doesn't mean he has an enlargement. So don't wait to get enlargement before you say that, hey, maybe I'm going to check for cancer. No, we have to do what we call the examinations for prostate cancer, as well as do what we call a biopsy. A biopsy, you take a biopsy of the prostate tissue and test or do histology on it to see if the cells in there are cancerous. I see. That's interesting. Well, we want to open the phone line so you can also call and ask any question at all, because we're talking about your prostate health, and it's important that you get all the details that you require. But if you have noticed any of these symptoms, then like Dr. Bortey is saying, you need to go see a doctor as soon as possible to get tested or examined, just to make sure that you are not on, you know, the bad road, if I could say so. But as we wait for your call, the numbers are on your screens at this point. We're waiting for you to call. Let me just ask, because there are people who also, and I've seen some tweets here and there, that if you don't have enough sex, you're likely to develop prostate cancer. How true is this? It's neither here nor there. There's nothing conclusive about that. Yes, the prostate produces the prostatic fluid for ejaculation and all that. Yes, so enough sex is good. Frequent sex is fine. It's helpful for the prostate. But it is not the panacea to the issue about prostate cancer. I keep saying that, yes, if you can have sex every day, go ahead. I mean, if you can ejaculate out of your prostate, go ahead. It massages the prostate, causes the prostate to go into contractions. And all that, but it doesn't change your genetic history. You know, there's this funny statistics where it said that in terms of those who have cancer, most of the people are blacks. Or Hispanic, Yes. Black who are non-Hispanic blacks. Non-Hispanic blacks. So does it mean that the Hispanics are having more sex than with the blacks? That is another question for the gods, right? So it's an African thing? It's a thinking, but enough sex is good. But don't say that because I have, for me not to get the cancer, I'm going to have enough sex all the time and forget about checking. Because I keep saying, funnily enough, you can't ejaculate your cancer cells away. They'll always be there. They'll always be there. So you can have enough sex, but still check, because I know, as I said, I'm a doctor, so I know people who have prostate cancer. They'll tell you, Charlie, I fired power. But still, that's in the day. Anyway, Jalid has just joined us via phone. Hello, Jalid. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. So Dr. Bortey is listening.
I wanted to know, after the risk prostate, we have something called E. coli, bacterial infection. I don't know if those kind of infections, when they also travel to the prostate, if they can also cause those infections. So, you know, after the risk prostate, can any bacterial infection cause the infection?
Okay. Thank you, Jelly.
Yeah, thank you. So he's going back to prostatitis. So we say that sometimes the PSA increasing is as a result of inflammation of the prostate. It can be caused by bacteria or viruses or any other organisms like that. Now, frequent changes in inflammation of the prostate back and forth can also cause changes in your prostate, and one day can only lead to abnormal cells being formed. Like hepatitis B viruses will attack the liver, and they are in the liver, and then sooner than later, it causes changes in the genetic information in the liver cells.
Yeah.
Same can happen. So, frequent sexually transmitted infections and prostatitis may.
They may.
It's rare though, but
they may.
Yeah.
Well, we're waiting for your calls as well. But I remember a long time ago, we used to have this structure where, the engine was in the front seat. There was some very hot piece of metal, and they used to put the seats on it for people to sit on. Yeah. And I remember that every time that happened, someone would say that it's not healthy for you because as a man, if you sit on that, you could be damaging your prostate.
Yeah.
How true is that when your prostate comes into contact with heat severally, it could also develop into something?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just like the scrotum is hanging outside of your body.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, because it shouldn't stand, it can't stand the high temperatures within the body. So if you're exposing these parts of your body to extremes of temperature, you would end up damaging them, just like the scrotum. You don't have to expose it. Now, talking about seating too, for that matter.
Maybe hold on. I think George is on the line. Hello, George.
Yeah, Bella, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, calling from Tamam,
Okay.
7.
All right.
Yeah, I want to ask the doctor if too much of sexual intercourse can cause problem to your prostate and eventually end up with prostate cancer.
Okay, we answered that a few minutes ago, but I'm sure Doc will touch on it again for your sake.
Yeah, too much sex will not damage your prostate. Neither can too much sex protect you from prostate cancer. Everything is okay, do it in moderation, but don't think that you can use one to solve the other. That's it. So sex is good. I mean, as many times as you have time for and you are fit for, and it's healthy for you, you can go ahead. But don't use that as the treatment for cancer or as the way of preventing prostate cancer. You need to have it checked.
John from Accra, good morning to you. Hello, John.
Please.
I'm having this issue has been so many years now. This issue, I'm still experiencing the same issue. Anytime I release, I have sex and I have pain on my testicle. And I've done the kidney surgery on it.
Doc, did you hear?
I think saying something to the fact that when he ejaculates, he feels pain in his scrotum or somewhere like that. That's what I'm getting. Well, he would need to see a urologist to further examine what is going on. It shouldn't be normal that you ejaculate, a happy period rather ends up with, you just get happy, no, then
exactly,
that shouldn't be the case. So it needs to be investigated. I can't really sit here and say what exactly is going on, but there are so many parts of that organ, the urethra. I mean, a urologist will do something like a cystoscopy or a retrograde urethrogram.
Cystoscopy.
Do a lot of things to see. Maybe there's some constriction somewhere, things don't come out the way they are supposed to. All these will have to be investigated thoroughly.
Okay.
Then we can.
Abdul from Kumasi, I believe. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Talk
Good
to
morning,
us.
madam.
Good morning.
I'm having a problem urinating. So most of the times when I urinate, all doesn't flow. And then, though I don't feel any pain when urinating, but it doesn't flow the way it's supposed to flow. I went to cut for some labs and I was told I'm having Prostatitis. But still, after the medication, I'm still experiencing the same thing.
Okay.
All right. So you need to do further investigations. Some time ago, I spoke about something here, and the guy called from the Volta region, and I told him what he may be having is called urethra stricture. So the urethra is very long from outside of your penis all the way into your bladder. It's a very long path. There are times when people have had STIs or sexually transmitted infections like gonorrhea, chlamydia, which were not treated well, and out of the healing processes, the path or the lumen ends up, touching each other, and there'll be stricture, like closure. So partially, you don't have the full lumen for urine to pass through. So sometimes you go to urinate, and it comes with the strength of or the pressure with which the urine comes is low. So this gentleman came, and I made him do the investigations, and funnily enough, he had two strictures, and stricture are two different parts. And I said you will need something called urethroplasty,
Okay.
a whole surgery to be done to open the path again. So yes, he mentioned, is this cystoscopy you mentioned? No, he said he has cystitis. That's inflammation of the bladder. But beyond inflammation of the bladder, we'd have to also look at the urethral path and see if there are any points where just imagine you have a pipeline and they are blocked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Efwa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Efwa. Talk to us.
Okay, I have a problem. I have a question rather. I have an uncle who has been on this prostate medication for long, and up to now, you have not seen any improvement on his condition. So sometimes you get tired. You see these men, they get tired, they'll go to herbal and stuff like that. So I want to ask the doctor, for how long do you have to take the medication to see any improvement on whatever you are going on in your system, especially with the prostate?
There is no one straight answer for this. Everybody in your condition and at what stage it was found, and so the way it's going to be handled will be different. Some people take the same medication you are talking about and they are fine within a short time. But you see, I keep saying that medications are just like food.
Yeah.
You eat and you feel hungry again. So medications also get digested and excreted. So you may have to put them back in if there's a problem we are solving. And so, again, I don't know which medication she's talking about.
Yeah.
But if it's cancer, fighting cancer is not with kids' gloves. It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. So a person may have to be on medications for a very, very long time until maybe there's total remission. And the doctors are saying that, okay, I think now you can go off.
I see. Millicent from Teshi, good morning.
Good morning, Cookie. Sorry, Bella.
This is Bella. Don't worry. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Please, I want to ask a question for my husband.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
want to know if a wife can also do some examination on her husband to see in case there's any condition. Because my husband is 32 years and I want to know, because if something is wrong with me, he can check under me. Me too, I want to check if I can do anything to see maybe something is wrong or... Then I don't do your face like that.
Oh, I'm just smiling. No, well, Doc is here. He will respond. I totally understand. So you let Doc respond to you.
You know, when it comes to the examination I mentioned for men, I mean, the doctor does the digital rectal examination. The doctor would have to go into the rectum, the passageway for feces, but he wears gloves and then goes to examine. You may not be able to do that at home. And even if you did, you wouldn't know what it feels like to know how a normal prostate feels like and what an abnormal prostate feels like. When it comes to the breast, we say that the men can easily, because we've taught them it's something outside, so you can touch it and feel if it's a lump. But examining the prostate goes beyond.
She didn't say breast, she said he also goes under to check.
Yeah, he goes. I know, right? So if you feel something or you smell something, you can talk about it. But where the prostate is, you wouldn't be able to feel anything or smell anything. What the smell there is not nice. It's fecal matter, so it's not that nice. Okay, so that one you may not do much, but maybe ejaculation and those things, you may look at the strength of that, and for him to, he may have to look at the strength of his the pressure with which he urinates, and if there are any changes in the pattern of urination or the pressure with which he urinates or anything, maybe frequency at night he's waking up too many times to urinate, or maybe it's sexual intercourse, and after sexual intercourse we are seeing blood around. Those are things you can use to, but going down there to check the prostate is not that accessible to the finger.
Millicent, you here? Anyway, so Innocent is also on from Community 5. Hello, Innocent.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome. Talk to us.
Thank you. Please, there is this severe pain I've been feeling. That is, when I wake up early in the morning, I'll feel back pains, my waist, etc. And sometimes when I'm walking, all of a sudden I'll feel a sharp pain at my abdomen.
How old is he?
I don't know.
How old are you?
28.
28, Doc.
Yeah.
Okay, so 28 is not, you are not really a candidate for prostate cancer or enlargement. usually our prostate start enlarging from the age of 20-25. That's when, and by 28, you are just nowhere. Well, this back pain would have to be investigated. I don't know how your body habitus is like, so I can't again sit here and say what exactly is causing you to have back pain. But back pain at this age is not that okay. You are young and very active. Back pain is for older people. So I think you should get X-rays done or get a doctor to examine what is happening to your backside. But I would not connect it to prostate at this point.
But just seek medical care. Now, final question before you go. So if, is it possible that the semen could have a funny smell, or even the man's urine could have a funny smell? And if that's the case, is that linked to any form of prostate condition?
Yeah, so semen can have a funny smell.
Okay.
Again, if the prostate is infected with, somebody mentioned E. coli, another bacteria that can infect the prostate, yes, so you can have a weird smell for the prostate. Urine can also have a funny smell sometimes, depending on the kind of bacterium that is infected the urine. There are times when you are taking antibiotics and you can actually smell the antibiotic
medicine,
in the urine. So these subtle changes or these stark changes in smell sometimes should make you raise your eyebrows. What's happening? I mean, there's a change in my semen, the smell of my semen. It should raise your, but I won't say that it's necessarily connected to the prostate cancer. It could be prostatitis. Again, your age, your body, a lot of things come into a doctor making a clinical decision, not just one thing.
How affordable is it to treat? And are we on the National Health Insurance for prostate cancer?
Treating cancer everywhere is expensive, including Ghana. It drains everybody's pocket. Insurance is needed to be able to help many to be able to afford the treatment. And whether National Health Insurance covers it or not,
You're not sure?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, all right. You're not sure, but you need to have enough to be able to treat it. Well, thank you so much, Doc, for joining us this morning. And, well, I guess the whole month we're talking about prostate health. And so please make sure you go and get tested, or at least get examined. It's important. Dr. Dennis Bortey is a medical director at Health Net Swan Medical Center. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. We hope to see you often. We've missed you, so please keep coming.